Hi, it's Olivia, and today I will be talking about the first Stephen King novel that I have finished. This is like a huge feat for me because I've had, like you'll notice I have his books. I've had the intention to read a book of his for a while, just never, I started it a few years ago. I got like 200 pages in, but for one reason or another, I just never finished it. But the book that I finished was, it's upside down. You wouldn't be able to tell though, because this is a really boring library edition of Misery. I'll start out with non-spoilers, just kind of like general thoughts, and then jump into spoilers. Somehow this book and the movie just flew off, was never on my radar ever. I never saw the movie. I actually had never even seen like a single clip from the movie. So I went into this really with just this like one sentence synopsis of an author, like a best-selling author who is trapped by one of his obsessed fans. I'm sure you're probably just wondering whether or not I liked it, and I can tell you that yes, I did enjoy this book, and if this is a good reflection of his writing style for his other books, I know that was written a while ago, but if this is kind of a good feel for what his books are like, then I definitely want to continue. I also do recognize that this is definitely one of his shorter books. I don't know if this book is labeled as horror or thriller or whatever. It definitely felt thrilling, and I don't know if I didn't find the book scary. I don't know if I'd consider it a horror novel, but there's definitely like horrific elements. Like there's very gruesome, brutal stuff that happens to our poor main character, Paul Sheldon. But speaking of characters, when I think of this book, I'll forever think of Annie Wilkes. You know, this book mainly follows two people, and it makes it really unique because we've mainly followed two people in one setting for most of the book. Whether or not Annie was in the scene, whether or not she was in the room, her presence was just always lingering, and that will forever remain with me. That, I think, is what made the book what it is. It made it intense. It made it just like no matter what, I could not get her character out of her mind, and whenever she was on the page, like she had my full undivided attention, because you know right from the beginning that she's just not 100% there. One of my cons, or you know, things I didn't like, is that even though this book is a little over 300 pages, I still feel like it could have been shorter. I don't know. Throughout the book, our main character, Paul, the story that he is writing is also within it. I actually found that separate story really entertaining at the beginning, but then towards the end, I kind of stopped seeing the point in it. I mean, I do see where it was going, like the ties to the situation that he was in, but my interest was just like dying as the book kept going. And like I said, I thought it could have been short. Like I felt like halfway through, I was looking at how much I had left, and I was just surprised. I was thinking, what else? What else is there? Because it's kind of like this, you know, like I said, they're in the same room for the entire book, mostly. So yeah, there were parts that I felt like were repetitive and kind of dragged. That's kind of to sum up my non-spoiler thoughts. I want to get right into spoilers. If you've not read the book or seen the movie or whatever, goodbye. Okay, like I said, Annie was something else, and even every little detail about her that was written just really stood out to me. Like the way her facial expression was described, the things that she would say, her personality, how it would just like shift right in a split second. Like I just love how her character was written, and she was also brutal. The things that she did were terrible. It seems like the book was definitely much more brutal than the movie. Even though the movie, you know, shows, I know that the hammer scene is very memorable. I asked my mom, and she was like, "Oh, I could never look at that scene when she takes the hammer to his legs." But in the book, you know, if you've read it, she did far worse things, especially to his legs. But you know what? The lawnmower scene. If anyone has seen the movie Sinister, the second that she was described as being on a lawnmower, I knew something was going to happen bad with that. Nothing good could come of Annie and a lawnmower. And that was just such an intense scene when that police officer came. Like that was probably my favorite scene in the whole book. Perhaps when he arrived, you saw Paul, and then Annie just comes out of nowhere. I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, in the movie Sinister, if you've seen it, you'll know why I thought of that movie when I realized what was going to happen with that lawnmower and the poor officer. And then his fingers, you know, his thumb. For this part, I just drew a finger on a birthday cake. I found the ending extremely satisfying. I mean, I maybe could have seen it I maybe would have liked to see it like extended more details with all the stuff that was happening at the end and like how he deals with the aftermath of what he had went through. But nonetheless, I enjoyed it, and I feel like the end is where the kind of psychological thriller stuff came in, because when he was seeing Annie in places, I was like, wait a second, is she dead or not? Like I was questioning myself, and that's I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but that was something else that I found really interesting. Is like our main character, Paul, he's going through a lot, and he's not exactly a reliable narrator. And I think he even said something like that at the beginning, because he knows that he's constantly under the influence of drugs, and he, you know, he's only being told what he knows from Annie. That's like, he has a very limited perspective, and so we're told the story through his eyes, and so there's things that we don't see. And I found that interesting, but there were things that I wish we saw, like his car crash scene. I know that Annie just kind of told him what happened, but I would have liked to see the beginning like play out in detail. So I'm gonna end this review here. Please let me know your thoughts on anything I had to say, or any of your thoughts on the book or the movie. Just to clarify, I have now seen the movie. Let to know if you disagree, agree with certain thoughts, and yeah, you know what? I do want to finish off with a random quote that I enjoyed from the book. I like this one about, he was talking about how like powerful or influential fiction is, but he says, because they failed to realize how pervasive the influence of art, even of such a degenerate sort as popular fiction, could become. And I think he was talking about like how eventually, you know, how powerful, how influential his misery novels were. And yeah, I'll see you in another video. Bye.